So just understand, don't hold it against me.
I'm sorry, what you said?
If you see my hair shift, don't hold it against me. Private summers are real, even in the winter. My name is Deborah Chapman. I am from Columbus, Ohio, and I am a member of St. Mark AME Church with Pastor Dr. Lewis. I can't swap to my pastor. Okay, let's just get started. What meaningful work does the Theology of Science do for training of clergy at seminary congregations and leaders in the community? Training in the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment, coupled with the study of religious faith, practice, and experience with focus on the study of God will benefit seminary students, clergy, congregation, and community leaders in some very important ways. But we must first remove the fear and the walls separating theology and science. They must be torn down so that we can see God outside of the box of religion and scientific research we have put him in. The question can be asked, does science have validity without theology? Theology helps us to see God as he is and not as we want him to be. Whereas science helps us to uncover the hidden treasures of the world God created, showing us a more complex view of his majesty and his power. Jeffrey Solis points out in God's Power in the Washington Post article where he says, our universe shows evidence of design in that the physical law of the constraints that govern it precisely match what is required for life. Yet many still believe that science and theology are in opposition of each other, which has caused some to be convinced that they are just as powerful as our Creator. In this essay, however, the author hopes to show how closely related science and theology really are. The Big Bang Theory. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear, does it make a sound? When in nothingness God said, let there be, did he make a sound? Was there a bang or an explosion? The debate between the Big Bang Theory and creation has always puzzled me. It has puzzled me because I never understood why it was an either-or debate. Could Einstein have been onto something with his theory? Let's take a closer look at the basis of his theory. According to Einstein, billions of years ago, there was a single point of infinite energy and an explosion. Infinite energy. God is infinite, and his spirit is energy. So could that singular infinite energy Einstein spoke of in fact be God? He once said that if he had an hour to solve a problem, he'd take 55 minutes to figure out the right question, because when he knew the right question to ask, it would take him only less than 5 minutes to solve it. So let's take a few minutes, not 55, and explore this just a little further. Einstein's research led him to discover that a single point of infinite energy was there more than 13.85 billion years ago before anything was. That means the infinite energy, which I believe is God, exploded. Could that explosion have been the voice of God? Imagine God speaking. Would not the voice of God sound like an explosion or an enormous bang throughout the cosmos? Could that have been what happened in Genesis 1 and 3 when God said, let there be, and called light into existence? Therefore, is it really so far-fetched that we believe that the Big Bang Theory and creation are really one and the same? Proving how closely related theology and science really are if we believe this premise. God is the details. In the beginning, God was, God is, and God will always be. He is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. God spoke into existence, created out of the dust of the ground, and breathed his breath into man. God's DNA is on everything in creation. God is a part of every single thing. Everything has been touched by God. And science, working with theology, helps us to see that more clearly. Therefore, we must ask ourselves what science without theology really is. In Genesis 1 and 1, there was God and his spirit hovering over the cosmos. In John 1 and 1, we see this actualized when it says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. God was before there was anything. Everything God created was complete and exact. He created the galaxies from his infinite imagination, and he created each of us with creative imaginations to dream above and beyond ourselves. Who other than the infinite God, infinite energy, could create anything such as wonderful as us? I believe science's best gift to the world has been to help us to see God outside of our religious interpretations and closed minds. It also provides facts to complement our biblical knowledge of God, creation, and the world. Science makes us question tradition, beliefs, and practices. It makes us take a hard look at what we follow, say we believe, and how we interpret what we believe. But there is danger in following science in and of itself. Theology and science complement each other when we allow each to have their proper place. Science is based in fact, rational thought, and research, whereas theology is rooted in faith and belief. The study of God cannot be confined to facts and rational thinking. I mean, think about it. What's rational about God creating everything out of nothing? To accept this, there must be unwavering faith in the impossible. When science and theology are in their proper place and we allow them to work together, minds have not seen, nor ears heard, nor entered the hearts of men the things God has prepared for those who love him. What he will allow to be revealed will blow our minds. The danger is when people choose to put their faith in science alone. Egos get in the way. And what does ego stand for? It stands for editing God out. And we have seen God being edited out in a lot of scientific research. Even Einstein, who is called one of the greatest scientists to ever live, allowed his ego to edit God out. He considered himself in his later years to be agnostic, even though he was raised in a Jewish tradition, and did not believe in a personal God or life after death. He believed mysticism to be the sower of all true art and science. He, like many of the other great scientific minds, were raised in traditional religious upbringings. However, the more knowledge they gained, the further their egos edited God out of their lives. When we replace faith with science, it becomes easy for the facts of scientific research to edit the truth of God and his word out of our lives. God created science. Science did not create God. He was before the beginning, and I'm just naive enough to believe that he is that singular, infinite energy Einstein discovered. The danger of science is that it has promoted self-reliance and not God-dependence. Without God, we cannot move, breathe, or have our being. Even still, many times we deny and try to refute the existence of God in all of his glory. Nevertheless, in our failed attempts to refute him, we prove him more. Those of us in leadership positions, clergy roles, seminary students, and community leaders will do well to study and be trained in theology of science. The science of theology reminds us of who and why we are. The study and training will also help us see that science has its place, but it does not take the place of theology. It also helps to open our minds to new possibilities and ideas. Even more, this training will help us to paint an even more in-depth picture of who God is, the mysteries of his power, his glory, and his majesty. It will encourage us to study to show ourselves approved as workmen that should not be ashamed as we teach the words of truth. Finally, this training and study has helped open my mind to new possibilities and ideas so that I can reach and teach a larger demographic, especially millennials. They do not believe that what I say just because I say it with authority. To engage in real meaningful dialogue, I need to have out-of-the-box thinking and open and honest dialogue. No one expects me to know it all or have all the answers. People want conversations that matter. People are knowledgeable about Google and other ways to gather information quickly. Furthermore, social media has a major influence and exposes us to beliefs that contradict and challenge Christian beliefs. And many of these beliefs seem credible. The training that we receive in this class, Theology and Science, has strengthened my faith in what I believe, has given me tools that have better equipped me to teach and entertain important conversations about faith, God, religion, theology, and science, and how we are created to work together. Thank you.